Hello everyone and welcome to Azam Weekly. This video is brought to you by my new course SwiftData Bootcamp, a comprehensive guide to building data-driven applications. Now this is a 9+ hours course on SwiftData framework. Let's go ahead and check out the contents. You can see there's a special pricing going on. The regular price is $119, but you can get it for just $89 if you buy it before 14th of December. Now, check out the syllabus over here. We're going to start with the new SwiftUI state management changes. Then you're going to go into getting started with SwiftData. Always good idea to just get started with something, right? So I'm going to go ahead and show it to you how you can do that. Then you're going to learn about one-to-many relationship, many-to-many relationship, understanding queries, dynamic queries, and also static queries, versioning, migration, persisting changes are like genre and filtering based on genre, which are enums, and also transformable properties, like if you want to store some complex object like UI color, how do you do that? Testing, very important topic, I'm going to cover that. Syncing with iCloud using CloudKit. Also integrating SwiftData with UIKit applications. And then storing binary data using SwiftData. So images, how to store images in SwiftData. And also migrating core data apps to SwiftData. So that's a lot of content, 9+ hours of content that you can get. Make sure to check out this course. The link will be right there in the YouTube description. So hopefully you'll enjoy the course, and thank you so much. Now let's go back to the video. Hello everyone and welcome to Azam Weekly, and we're going to continue working with our to-do list application using SwiftData. And one of the things that we need to focus on is that how can we create dummy data just for the previews? You can see that when we are creating the model container, we are explicitly specifying that this particular model container will be in memory. This means that all the data that we are going to be entering, let's say if I say clean car and I say feed rabbit, all this data will be gone if I run the previews again. So that's fine. I mean, I can go ahead and change that to false, but I also don't really want to do that. I do want to start fresh, but with some dummy data. So let's see how we can do that. The first thing we can do is go to the preview. This is the preview macro. And inside the preview macro, we can create an array with the title of the to-do item. Now, this is simple string array. It has mow the lawn, feed the dog, feed the rabbit, clean the car, and so on. Next, we can start creating our model container. So I'll create a model container by using container, model container, for, well, in this case, for will be the to-do item. That's the only model that we actually have. And then we can pass in the model configurations. This is a required property that you need to pass in, required argument. So I'm just going to say model configuration. And you can see the model configuration also does have that option of is stored in memory. And we are going to pass in true because we don't really want to persist our data into SQLite. Although we can, but we don't really want to do that, especially not for the previews. In order to create the model container, this is a throwable event, so we'll use try. And it's perfectly fine to use try with the exclamation mark over here. This is again for the previews. So if this actually fails, our previews will simply crash. Next, we will have to go and create the data. So I'll go and run the loop. We'll run from 0 to, let's say, less than 4. We'll create the to-do item. So to-do item, passing in the title, which we can grab from the to-do item titles array, passing in the index, and simply adding it to the context. So insert, and then adding it to-do item. Great. The final thing that we want to do is you can see right now the content view is not being returned. So we'll put a return over here, and the model container is going to use a different overload where we can pass in the container that we just created. Now the good thing about this is as soon as my preview runs, I am getting this dummy data to play around with the previews, which is great. I mean, I don't really have to go and add a to-do item again and again. I have these to-do items and I can work with them. I mean, yes, I can still go and, add a to-do item. That's perfectly fine. But I'm starting with at least 4 to-do items, which I can also manage. So I can click on the to-do items and you can see they're moving around. So this is perfectly fine. So all of this works. But the question is, if it works, is it possible for us to make it better? One thing that we can do in this case is maybe to put all of this code somewhere else. And that somewhere else can be a separate class. So I can go ahead and create a different class. So let's say in the preview content, I can say a class called preview data controller or preview data, this can be anything. Provider, controller is fine, I guess. That's fine too. And now I can go ahead and create this class, preview data controller. This class will be on the main actor because if you don't use the main actor, then you can't really access the context. And what we're going to do is this is simply going to return us the actual preview container. So I'll go back to my app and all of this stuff that we have written, we can paste it somewhere else. So we'll create a property and we'll call it preview, and or in this case it's a preview data controller, so it's just going to be a container. It's going to be a model container, and we can return it from right here. Okay. Now the model container is available inside SwiftData, so we need to import that as well. And we are also not returning anything. So let's go ahead and return container. All right. And at this point, we can take use of the try catch. So if I go over here, I can just put everything in the try catch over here. And we're going to probably wrap everything with a try catch. And if it catches, then it's going to be just a fatal error. And I will say unable to initialize a container for previews. Great. Let's go ahead and save it. Now we can go ahead and start using the preview data controller. So I will go back, and right over here we can delete all of this code. We don't need that. We can also remove the return because now we will have one line only, and we can say preview data controller dot, and now you can see that using this we should be able to access something. So if I go back over here, you can see that we're calling it container, which is a static property. All right. So how can we use that? Container. That's it. Now you can call this preview container or something else, but since the class itself says preview data controller, you don't really have to repeat the word preview data controller dot preview container. And if I go ahead and run this again, and you can find that it works exactly the same way. And this will become more and more important once you are working on much larger screens and you will need to insert something into the memory, into the context, and you're using previews. So you don't really have to go about adding those things again and again. That can be just fetched from the dummy data. So That's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. Thank you so much.